and welcome to Brands Hatch for the season finale of the 2014 PowerMaxed Mini Challenge. Now, the championship titles were actually decided following racing at the last round at Silverstone. So let's head down to the paddock and catch up with the newly crowned Mini Challenge champions. Well, Chris, congratulations. Here we are, the final round of the season, but you already know that you are the Mini Challenge champion. How does that feel?
Yeah, ecstatic. It was decided on Saturday morning in the office rather than on the circuit, which I'd rather have won it on the circuit, but we've worked hard all year, and to come away with the championship with Accelerate has been fantastic. I won this championship in 2011, and that gave me the opportunity to go to America and do some mini racing over there. So hopefully, I mean, next year plans-wise, we've got the new Gen 3 car. We're hoping to get a couple of them, as well as running 2 club cars under the new banner SL Group Racing. So looking forward to that. Hopefully we can get some good drivers and hopefully run at the front in both classes.
Sounds like you've got some exciting plans ahead then. You certainly sound like a bit of a mini junkie. What is it about Mini Challenge racing that, you know, does it for you?
It's always close racing. I've done a few other series, and the way the sort of technical side with comparing the data over everyone's car to make sure no one's cheating or anything like that, that's spot on in this championship. So it really is down to the driver at the end of the day.
How does it feel to be 2014 Cooper Class champion?
It feels fantastic. I've got to say massive thanks to Coastal. You know, last couple of years we've been with them. You know, they've not put a foot wrong all the time we've been there. So you know, it's been a fantastic year. We've found some fantastic racing this year as well. Yesterday was fantastic racing. Didn't quite go to plan, but you know, yeah, you know, Ricky and Josh and everybody. The racing this year has been 10 times better than last year. So to come out on top again has been fantastic. But you know, I've just really been enjoying myself. So it's going to be different next year. Not racing these cars. You know, that's the only thing. The only thing we do know that we're doing next year is we're not coming back to Coopers. So it's going to be different. But you know, I'm looking forward to a new challenge. We're looking at a few new things. The new Gen 3 car is sort of near the top of the list, right at the top of the list. So,
what is it about Mini Challenge racing in particular that keeps you coming back season after season?
It's just the enjoyment of it. You know, there's not much damage. You know, great people, great racing, and the cars, the Cooper especially, it's a nice car to run. It doesn't really go wrong. It's a strong car, so you know, it's just an enjoyable championship to race in. So.
Now the season may be drawing to a close, but today sees the launch of an exciting new initiative from Mini Challenge. Here to tell you more about it is Ben Evans.
Thanks, Charlie. Yes, the Magnificent Seven, the top 6 JCW drivers and the leading Cooper class driver will be heading to Silverstone in November for a shootout where they'll be judged on their performance, physical fitness and promotion ability by a varied panel of judges. What they are shooting out for is a prize of either a British Touring Car Championship test or a very attractive package for next year's Mini Challenge. The prize being very generously backed by the best of British partners of the PowerMaxed Mini Challenge. Also making the headlines at Brands Hatch, the very welcome return to the Mini Challenge of John O'Brown.
Tell us a bit about why you've been away. It's been quite a year for you, hasn't it?
2 weeks before Donington, the first round, went to get my licence upgraded and had a small health check and had an issue there. So obviously got referred to a hospital and found out it was a bit more serious, so I had to have an operation. So that did certainly change plans for the year, and obviously I had to back out, and it was unfortunate. Obviously was looking really good and won the last race of the season before. So yes, and obviously, you know, 6 weeks prior and after the operation now I'm okay, been given the all clear, and just wanted to get back out and have a go in the car and see where I stood up against this year's drivers, and yeah, it's been absolutely mega.
Well, you certainly didn't waste any time getting back behind the wheel, did you?
No, it was raring to go, and there was obviously a last round, so I thought, yeah, we'll give it a try, and just mega. Can't believe I'm back. I just want to say a massive thank you to the paddock, been absolutely brilliant, and obviously the people in the paddock are lovely and welcomed me back very nicely, and the Mini Challenge team did an absolutely excellent job, and Accelerate Motorsport getting me out in the car, and yeah, it's wonderful.
And you certainly didn't waste any time getting back to the front of the pack either, did you?
No, qualifying went really well. Came over the line, saw P1 and thought, bit of a surprise to me. Knew it was a good lap, but obviously came in, saved the tyres and had a good margin, so I was really happy with that.
Pole position for Jono Brown then, but it's not necessarily where you want to be at Brands Hatch, because Lawrence Davey was able to get the jump from the line with the slightly lower elevation as behind. The Cooper class were very tightly bunched through Paddock Hill Bend. Mark Wakefield looking to make progress, as was Chris Knox in the JCW class. The champion confirmed before Brands Hatch to progress from 10th on the grid. Davey, Neil Newston, Jono Brown making the early running in front of the JCW class as the Coopers tried to go 3, even 4 wide through Druids. Somehow they made it cleanly through, and Gideon Cresswell making good progress. It's behind Will Dendy's moment meant that Max Lever got sandwiched heading into Graham Hill Bend. Lever, though, looking to fight back immediately en route to Surtees. It was quite the first lap, as Ricky Page and William Phillips did battle at the front of the Cooper class. Page a brave move into Westfield. Lawrence Davey, though, set about trying to put a gap over the rest of the field, as he was clear out front. The race, unfortunately, came to a very premature end for Martin Poole, who was beached at Clearways. Shane Stoney, Josh Gollin, William Phillips and Ricky Page formed the leading group in the Cooper class. It was an absolutely fantastic battle between this quartet. Jono Brown showed no signs of race rustiness whatsoever as he made a 5 pass to the inside of Lawrence Davey en route to Hawthorns. Nothing really that Davey could do about that as Brown set off into the distance. Kevin O'Connor had one of the most remarkable accidents that you'll see this season, losing the car, almost saving it en route into the pit lane, unfortunately just clipping the Armco. His race was at an end. Max Levers didn't last much longer, trying to go to the inside of Gideon Cresswell at Stirling's. The pair of them ran out of road. Lever clouted the wall. Battle in the Cooper class was equally frantic. This was arguably the move on which the race hinged. William Phillips to the inside of Shane Stoney, but watch on the exit, Shane Stoney out wide, all 4 wheels across the white line, and that earned him a 5-second penalty. It essentially meant that he slipped down to 4th, even though he was first on the road. So it was an emotional triumph for Jono Brown, who led from a charging Chris Knox, with Neil Newston completing the podium. So there's Shane Stoney at the front of your picture. He took the flag in the Cooper class, but in fact it was Ricky Page who was given the win from William Phillips and Josh Gollin. Delight for Jono Brown and his friends, family and well-wishers. What better way to return to the PowerMaxed Mini Challenge? Another victory in the Cooper class for delighted Ricky Page. And then a very, very popular win for Jono Brown.
Welcome back.
So let's have a look then at the results, with victory for Jono Brown from Chris Knox and Neil Newston, Henry Dupree in 4th. In the Cooper class, Ricky Page victorious from William Phillips and Josh Gollin. Shane Stoney slips to 4th. Those results give us the basis for the grid for race 2.
Starting in 2nd place, it's our newly crowned 2014 champion, Chris Knox. And starting from pole position, well, it's our returning driver, Jono Brown.
And this second race of the weekend is going to be the rolling start race, which always adds an extra dynamic. So Jono Brown, thumbs up from pole. What a weekend he's had so far. Can he make it 2 from 2? As the cars set off on their formation lap. As the pace car peels in, we'll be going racing on the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. Always a favourite of the drivers, and here they come now, bunched up, ready for the lights on the gantry to change. The 2 distinct grids, the JCWs and the Cooper cars, as away we go. It's a good start from Jono Brown. You can see him looking to the left then to see where Chris Knox is, but it's Brown in the red car who's got the inside line heading towards paddock. Same for Ricky Page amongst the Cooper class runners, as all the JCW cars cleanly through the first turn, climbing uphill towards Druids. Knox already looking to challenge Brown though. It's behind in the Cooper class, William Phillips, the white number 17 car, to the inside at Druids, but it's Ricky Page who leads the way from Phillips, then Shane Stoney. The rest of the pack just about giving each other enough room as they arrive into the tight left-hander at Graham Hill Bend. Meanwhile, the JCW cars into Surtees, and Chris Knox already challenging for the lead. It's behind Lawrence Davey, gets it all a bit sideways, and he's tagged Alan Taylor. and Taylor completely innocent to that. You could see Davey just a little bit too late on the brakes, maybe caught out by cold tyres. It's down into Hawthorns, and it is still Brown from Knox. Then Neil Newstead, Henry Dupree in fourth. He has got Hamish Brandon all over his tail. Then Rob Smith in sixth position, in car with Chris Knox through Westfield. Exhilarating section of the circuit. The road really does plummet downhill before you climb up to Sheen. Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit, one of those tracks where it's almost impossible to have a dull race, as Chris Knox looks to line up for the move here on Jono Brown into Stirling. Surely not around the outside. He's going to make it stick. Brilliant stuff there from Chris Knox. You do not see that every day. And so Knox snatches the advantage, and that is the sort of driving that has taken him to the 2014 PowerMaxed Mini Challenge crown. Jono Brown, though, coming back onto his tail with the sort of driving that might take him to the 2015 title as he settles into the slipstream behind Knox. The pair of them sprint across the start and finish line on towards Paddock Hill Bend. Swoop downhill. Still got Neil Newstead there in third position, just holding that watching brief, waiting to see how it all unfolds. Up around the hairpin. Down into the left-hander. Sprint along the Cooper Straight. Meanwhile, Ricky Page from Shane Stoney. Then we've got William Phillips, who's about to be demoted by Josh Gollin. Gideon Cresswell trying to make progress. Gollin does indeed move up to third place in the Cooper class. There's Cresswell, the silver car. As he looks to try and elevate himself up ahead of Simon Walton. There's Walter running a little bit wide through Surtees, and that is going to give the opening to Gideon Cresswell. Now Cresswell should have the straight line speed advantage towards Hawthorns. Leading the way, it is Knox. In pursuit, Jono Brown, and the gap back to Neil Newstead. Turn through the left hand from Stirling, and the camber really makes that slightly quicker turn than you'd expect, and then you get propelled downhill very rapidly as well. Behind Grace Williams in the thick of the action in the Cooper class as Shane Stoney begins to apply the pressure to Ricky Page. We're going to take a short break. Join us in a couple of moments as the action continues. Welcome back to Brands Hatch and the PowerMaxed Mini Challenge. We are here on the Grand Prix circuit. A fascinating race in prospect. It's Chris Knox who leads the way. JSW class, it's Shane Stoney who now leads the Cooper class. So the two champions for 2014, front of the pack. Although Stoney coming under a lot of pressure from race one winner. That is Ricky Page. Trying to follow in behind Shane Stoney as the pair of them sprint along the Cooper Straight on towards Surtees. They've got Josh Gollin and William Phillips all part of that scrap as well. Stoney the red car with the yellow trim, Page the red car with the white roof, and then Josh Gollin not dissimilarly coloured. There is the multicoloured entry though of Chris Knox leading race one winner and returnee Jono Brown. And it's Henry Dupree who's now taken his turn in the queue behind. You can see the progress Luke Caudle's making. He's got up onto terms with Rob Smith, and this is what all the neutrals will have been hoping for as Jono Brown and Chris Knox begin to battle with each other. The gaps begin to close down. Same in the Cooper class. Shane Stoney, Ricky Page, they decide to start fighting for the lead. Gives everybody else the chance to close up. It means that Jono Brown, as he looks to challenge Chris Knox to the outside of the Paddock Hill Bend, if he's going to make this move, he needs to do it sooner rather than later, because otherwise he is at risk of being swarmed by those around him. So they climb up towards Druids, not to the inside. It's making Jono Brown do all the hard work. Step down out of the hairpin into the left-hander at Graham Hill Bend. One of the most altered corners really since the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit was launched in the early 1960s. Otherwise the layout remains largely unchanged, particularly Surtees, as Jono Brown looks again to the outside. Chris Knox, he's forcing Knox to drive defensively. You can see how quickly the gap to Henry Dupree has come down as a result of it. And he's got Hamish Brandon and the rest of them all for company as the leading quartet in the Cooper class head around Druids. Down towards Graham Hill Bend once more. It's Ricky Page in second place, challenging Shane Stoney. Then we've got Josh Gollin and William Phillips, but they've got plenty of time left. They can just afford to let the race run for a few laps before they really dispute who's going to claim Cooper class honours. In the JCW class, it's a little bit more frantic because you can see we've got this leading queue of 7 cars, all nose to tail through Westfield. Jono Brown looks to one side, then the other, climbing up into Sheen. Take a big bite of curb for all of them, and then on to the left-hander at Stirling's, the cambered turn. Smith, he has now got Luke Cordon, who is right up onto his tail. So they all dart downhill into clearways. And again, Chris Knox taking a very tight line through clearways. That is going to be an opening maybe for Jono Brown. Henry Dupree may have just missed an opportunity there. I think if Dupree got into the toe behind Jono Brown, he could have launched a bid on both of them into Paddock Hill Bend. As it is, Jono Brown to the outside line. Chris Knox, though, showing exactly how wide any challenge JCW car can be when you want it to. The hill into Druids once more, around they go. While some good scraps behind as Alan Taylor, recovering from that early incident, being caught by Josh Godden and William Phillips. They've got Ricky Page with them. It means that Shane Stoney, I think, has rather broken clear of that trio in the Cooper class, possibly in amongst the traffic with some of the slower JCW cars. This is the fight then for second. It's Ricky Page has really lost it. He's been shuffled down into 4th place. Now, although tucked in behind Alan Taylor as across through the gravel track goes William Phillips. Phillips then plants his right foot, squirts downhill. As Knox has now got Dupree leading his challenge. Jono Brown has dropped down to 5th place. It's Luke Cordell who's making the strongest progress. He now challenges Neil Newstead for 3rd. There is Jono Brown. This is exactly what happens when you're running to a really tight train of cars, is that what it takes is 1 or 2 errors and the gaps open up or close up in the blink of an eye. Oh, Gideon Cresswell every which way looking to squeeze past Grace Williams. Grace going very strongly this weekend. They've also got Max Lever in that group as well, and the number 10 car of Adrian Norman. Adrian just letting the cars in front. See how it pans out. Gideon Cresswell bounces across the grass next to Graham Hill Bend. Be careful with the track limits here. Hammond just in behind them as well. A relatively muted weekend this from Matt. To Surtees and on towards Hawthorns. Meanwhile, the challenge for 3rd place, Luke Cordell to the inside of Neil Newstead. Inkai Luke, he's making it look very easy, just fingertip control on the steering wheel through Druids. That's what he needs to do. Thought that in-car shot, he was busy defending from Jono Brown en route towards Graham Hill Bend. There's your race leader, Chris Knox, getting into the traffic, Henry Dupree. And then Neil Newstead under pressure from Luke Cordell, and as a result of that, Cordell's just overcooked it. Bounces across the grass as Chris Knox towards the tail end of the race. It has been an utterly dominant season from Knox, and this second race at Brands Hatch looks like it's going to be no different. Knox really has been the class act of the season. He's got a little bit of traffic though to concern himself with on this final lap. The battle between Matt Hammond and Gideon Cresswell, which we normally note is Knox's first target, as he accelerates out of Stirling's for the final time. The Cooper class fight is going to go into one more lap, and William Phillips has got a good run here on Ricky Page. Makes a little bit of contact in fact with Page as they come on to the Brabham Straight. So across the line they go into the final lap. So they just avoid the lap as Chris Knox takes the checker flag with Henry Dupree a close 2nd, and 3rd does go to Neil Newstead. Cordell couldn't quite overhaul him. So William Phillips now makes the move on Ricky Page. They've just got the Grand Prix loop to go here. So they accelerate on towards Hawthorn, and the problem for Shane Stoney. Stoney slows, and Josh Gollin promoted into the lead then of the Cooper class dramatically on the last lap as Ricky Page has a good run on William Phillips, but Phillips crucially has the inside line, so there is nothing that Ricky Page can do about that. Hawthorn on to Westfield they go, downhill into the bottom of the valley, then up Josh Gollin. Sometimes you just have to take the wins as they come. It's a real disaster for Shane Stoney. It's the real fight though is for 2nd in class, because Ricky Page is trying to line up that move on William Phillips. Phillips though knows how to drive a wide car when he wants to. You saw him just tapping the brake, just getting a little bit of a settler into Clark Curve. No concerns though for our Cooper class race winner, Josh Gollin. He accelerates through and takes the checkered flag. Phillips in second, Ricky Page completing the rostrum. Another good scrap for fifth in the Cooper class, as under a lot of pressure, Will Dendy from Mark Wakefield, but it's Will who just holds the place. So look at the results then, with Chris Knox victorious from Henry Dupree and Neil Newstead. A great drive to fourth from Luke Caudle ahead of Rob Smith and Hamish Brandon. In the Cooper class, the win for Josh Gollin from William Phillips and Ricky Page. Shane Stoney, mechanical issue on the last lap, costing him dearly. So he's on to the top step of the podium. Applause for Josh Gollin, and the same for Chris Knox, who really found the PowerMaxed Mini Challenge rostrum to be his second home in 2014.
Well, Chris, you said before that the win was what you wanted, so you must be happy with that.
Yeah, fabulous. Just massive thanks to the team. We'd done a few changes from qualifying and the first race. So just over the moon at the moment. SO Group Management have put a mega deal together with Accelerate, and we've got Rivervale, Sweet Buzzers, the new guys over there, Blackwood Plant Hire. I'm actually speechless. I had no idea I was going to win that. I thought Jono was just going to disappear, so I'm just over the moon at the moment.
It was a battle all the way through with Will, Ricky, and myself. Shane got a little bit of a lead, so he's focused on battling with each other. Every lap we'd change positions, and as soon as you hit the front of the battle, they catch you back up again, such as a tow in the Cooper class. So, but no, in the end, I was able to come out on top of that battle, and on the last two laps, Shane started to slow down. So. Gutted for him, but at the same time I was smiling underneath my helmet just as I went past on the last lap. I couldn't have done it without the guys at Minicraft and College of West Anglia. They've really put a great car together for me this weekend, so thanks to them.
So the standings then after the second race of the weekend: in the JCW class, Chris Knox leading it, and the champion from Neil Newstead, who has been able to overhaul Luke Caudle late on in the season. In the Cooper class, Shane Stoney crowned, Josh Gollin in second from Ricky Page and William Phillips. And those standings turned out to be the final championship positions, because as the third race got underway, the crowded pack on the reverse grid surging up to Druids. As they came out of the hairpin, there was an entanglement amongst the JCW cars, resulting in a hefty impact for several of the runners with the Armco barrier, particularly Keith Izzat, and that caused damage to the Armco. And with curfew fast approaching, unfortunately the organisers left with no choice but to abandon the race. The good news is that Keith Izzat, who had the worst of that, escaped with no serious injuries.
Due to the incident out on circuit, it wasn't possible to restart the final mini race of the day before the curfew here at Brands Hatch. So that's it for the racing here today, but don't worry, because we'll be back newer, bigger and better in 2015. To keep up with all the latest news and updates, do check out our website and Facebook and Twitter pages. But from everybody at the PowerMaxed Mini Challenge, it's goodbye for now.